I'm going to teach you how to make a large bow with text on it. You can use text or you can have pictures, numbers, whatever you want to have on the bow. So for this you're going to need a heat tool of some sort. This one my mom had. It just needs to apply really hot heat in a designated area without getting the instrument hot. A hot glue gun, some form of power. I have an extension cord here. You're going to need fabric scissors, regular scissors or wire cutter, 3-inch wide ribbon, today I'm using black, a hair tie, it's another black hair tie, a middle ribbon, it can be any color you want, a stamp of some form, this is just a square, you'll see what that's for later, embossing powder, this is a red sparkly powder to match my middle ribbon, a watermark stamp pad, this acts as adhesive for the embossing powder, an X-Acto knife, some Q-tips, a measuring tape, a hot glue stick to go in the hot glue gun if you don't already have one in, a zip tie, it can be any color, or a skinny zip tie is preferred, a lighter or a candle, contact paper, which is like just a giant sticker paper stuff, and then whatever you want to put on your bow, either drawn out or printed. This one happens to be drawn from a template. And a cardboard surface that you're not afraid to destroy. Alright, let's make a bow. First you're going to take your 3-inch ribbon, mine's black, and you're going to cut a 28-inch long piece using your measuring tape. So you're just going to line it up, or you can have the measuring tape on the table and then measure out approximately 28 inches. It does not have to be exact. Then you're going to take your fabric scissors and cut off that piece. Fabric scissors are helpful because they're only used on fabric so they don't get dull on paper. And then you can just roll this back up or just put it over there. And then you are done with this ribbon and you can just put your piece of tape back on and set it off to the side. Now, with this, you're going to fold it in half, just like that, and then find the middle. You're going to pinch the middle so that it creates a crease. It doesn't have to be like folded perfectly. You're going to unfold it. So now you have this crease line that you can see. You can't really see it on the camera. And you're going to take the right side, your right side, and cross it over. Then take the left side and cross it over that. You're then going to decide how you want it proportioned. This one I had them about even, but you can have really long tails or really short tails. So I'm going to make them about even. So you want the loop and the edge of the ribbon to line up on this side. Then you're going to take it and grab all of it just at the top and then scrunch it up. Just like that. And you can kind of adjust it a little bit. Alright, now the technique I found works best is you're going to mark this however you want. Where did my... You're going to mark this part however you want. I'm going to take a little piece of contact paper. I'm just going to cut a strip, or a couple strips in this case. You can just get a couple strips of contact paper, or a marker if you want to draw on it, but I don't like drawing on it because sometimes it doesn't come off. Let me just cut these strips. Boom. They're about 3 inches long or so. And then you're going to peel the back off. So you're going to mark the top of where you can put the lettering on the left loop. Now you want to do left over right so that you can see the stuff on the loop pretty easily. You're going to mark the top and the bottom using strips of contact paper. So there we go. So then I can put a word there. And then I'm going to put my other thing right at the bottom of this so I don't have to mark it if I don't want to. Alright, and then you can set your contact paper aside and then you can let go and unfold it. So now you have this little area here, which is the area you know you need to put your word that's going to go on the left loop, which is where the eye tuck is on this bow. And then this part, you just know it needs to go down here. And you need to leave space for the chevron. Alright, so now we have that ready. We're going to set that aside. And we're going to take our words that we want to put on and our contact paper, and we're going to make a template to put the embossing powder. So I'm going to cut out a few squares. They need to be bigger than the width of the ribbon. So I'm just going to cut out 2 large squares because I have 2 things I'm putting on. So now I have my 2 squares. I can now set the contact paper aside. You can use any colored contact paper if you want. This one's just the one that isn't white or clear. So now I have my pieces of contact paper, and now I'm going to cut these out, but I'm not going to cut along the lines. I'm just going to cut around it. So I'm going to cut them out so that it's cut around it. So it's like a rectangle with the thing inside. And now I'm going to cut my 2 words apart. So if I want this to remain one word, I'm going to leave it together. And I want this to remain a word, so I'm going to leave it together. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to set it on here. And you can use another piece of contact paper to keep it in place, but you just want it to remain steady. Or you can use tape if you want, but I have extra contact paper from scraps from previous projects. And you're going to want 1 stencil for each bow you're making. So I want these 2 on 1 bow, and if I wanted to make 3 of them, then I would have to cut out 3 stencils because the stencils aren't reusable how I do it, and it's really clean the way I do it. So I recommend doing that. Of course, if you want to use them multiple times, you can. It's all up to your preference. So I have this piece of paper now, contact paper to this, and now I'm going to take my X-Acto knife or box cutter. I suppose you could use a pair of scissors. This just works really well. And you're going to cut out the shape, but you're not going to go out of the lines. You have to stay on the lines you drew. And you want to cut through the paper, and if you can, just the first layer of contact paper. If you cut through all the contact paper, it's not bad, but you want to do that. And then with things that have a hole in the middle, you're going to cut really lightly around the thing in the middle first, so that you're only cutting the paper in the top layer of contact paper, not the bottom, so then it stays in the same place. And then you just cut them. Alright, now your pieces of contact paper should look like this. So everything that you want to have the embossing powder on should be open, and you should see the back of it through it. I have my 2 things cut out. Now I'm going to take my ribbon with my original markings, and I'm going to take whatever I want to be on the left loop, this loop, and I'm going to stick it on there, and I'm going to try to center it. At this point, it's important that your designs are not wider than the ribbon you're trying to put them on. Now I'm going to leave the middle of the D on there for now, and I'm going to put this where I want it, just like that, simple and easy. And I'm going to push it down nice and firm, so nothing can get under the edges of the letters. And you can take the rest of the paper and fold it back over to the back of the ribbon. That's something on it. Alright, so now I have that on there, and I'm going to put the middle of that letter, if you want to keep it, and I'm going to line it up in the middle of the letter and push it down really, really hard. I'm going to take my other thing I'm putting on, and I'm going to put it down here, leaving enough space for this chevron. And you're just going to put it down there again, making sure that it's completely stuck on and there's nothing that could get under the edges. Pushing this down as well. Pushing really hard down, and then taking the middle of anything you have and sticking it in there. So like I have a 0, so I gotta make sure that's in there. And then you can set these pieces to the side and you won't need them again. Alright, so now it should look something like that. Now we're going to take this piece of paper we have left over, and you can cut off any extraneous things that are sticking out at the end. And you're going to fold it in half any way you want. And I'm going to cut off these ends as well. So now I have a piece of paper folded in half. This is going to act as a funnel. I'm going to lay my ribbon on it, and I'm going to take my stamp and my watermark stamp pad. I'm going to open this up. As you can see, there's some residue on it from previous ones that I've done. Then you take the stamp get some of the ink on it, and you're going to push really hard inside your stencil, making sure that you get it in all the pieces of your stencil. This is very important. You can use a Q-tip if you want to make sure everything gets in there. You can normally see when it's in there a little bit, and you can make sure you get the edges and everything. Push it down, and then you're going to do the same for both of the things. Pushing really hard, making sure that it stays there. And this is your adhesive to keep the embossing powder on the ribbon. Alright, and then you're going to make sure you close this up and set it to the side along with your stamp, far to the side. Now you're going to take your embossing powder. As you can see, I've used this before. Open it up, and then you're going to pour it on your letters. You're not going to pour all of it, you're just going to cover the letters and the numbers or the shapes. And you're going to do that for both of them. And then you're going to let it sit there for a while so it can kind of stick to the ribbon and the watermark adhesive you put on there. And you're just going to leave it there for a little bit. And I'll see you in you only need to leave it for 1 or 2 minutes. Alright, so it's been a little while, and it sat on my ribbon for a while. And then you're going to pick it up, and you're going to knock off the extra powder onto that paper that we were using. So it acts as a catcher. And then you fold it along that pre-existing seam, get all the embossing powder into the middle, and then funnel it back into your container. You want to do this because embossing powder isn't exactly cheap. It's not super expensive to get. Most people can get it at any craft store, but you don't want to be wasting it because they do come in fairly small containers. Then you just seal it up, and you set it really far to the side, as far as you can get to the side. And sometimes there's a few places where you want to add a little bit more, so you can take a Q-tip, put it in there, and just kind of tap it off onto those places. Sometimes it just doesn't stay there, or you didn't get enough glue in that spot. So you just want to make sure it's everywhere you want it to be. The next step involves this heat gun thing. So you're going to plug it in. You're going to put it, oh my goodness, upside down, right next to your design. And you're going to turn it on, and you're going to wait for the embossing powder pretty much melts with heat, and then it adheres itself, and it's water resistant, most of them. Some are not, so you're going to want to check it. I've already checked this one. And you're going to just apply heat, and it's going to melt. And the contact paper will melt as well. That's totally fine. It'll remain in its shape. And you're just going to let it melt so it looks glossy. And you're going to up flip the ends of the contact paper. It should come off nice and easy because it has been exposed to heat, and it has, for the most part, the glue has pretty much melted. And then you're just going to slowly take it off. Make sure you get all the pieces of contact paper that are connected to the big strip off. Look at that. And now that's permanently on your ribbon. And then you do the exact same thing you did before to figure out where to put it. And you can use those as a guideline to get it the same size as it was before. Pinch it and then fold it up. And then you take the zip tie that has been sitting over here for forever, and then you wrap it around the loop, around the center, and you put the little thingy in, and then it does its zip tying stuff. And you pull it till it's super, super tight, and nothing's gonna go anywhere. Really tight. And then you take your non-fabric scissors, and you just cut that little end off. And then that you don't need anymore. So then you should end up with something that looks something like this. It's obviously not finished. Doesn't even have a hair tie on it. No, hair tie. So the next step is you're going to plug in your hot glue gun so it can start preheating, and unplug your heat gun. Plug in that hot glue gun, and it's going to start preheating over there. And while it does that, we're going to take whatever our middle ribbon is. I chose this one because it matches the red sparkly of the letters. And you're just going to cut one about 2.5 to 3 inches long. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the lighter, you're going to light it, and then you're going to run the edge through back and forth just once. blow it off, make sure it's nice and cool. And then, that's right. Now we're going to do our chevron. So you take your fabric scissors, and you just cut halfway at an angle. And then from that midway point, it's right there, then you cut to the other corner. So then it makes a nice even chevron. Then you take your lighter and do the same thing you just did with the middle ribbon so that it seals the end. So there you go. Now it has the chevron pieces to it. So at this point you're going to need hair tie into your middle ribbon. These are the only pieces left to make your bow. Now you're going to take your hot glue gun and you're going to put a dab right in the middle and the front on top of that zip tie. Put a little dab. And then take this, find the middle, and stick it right on there. You're going to hold it there for a little bit so that it doesn't move while the glue dries. Now you're going to flip your bow over, take this hair tie and attach it where you like on the back. Some people like it up high so it'll sit lower. Some people like it down low so it'll sit higher. You can put it wherever you want. I normally put mine in the middle. Put a dab of hot glue. And you're going to take that ribbon, or take that hair tie, and put it on there and hold it there so that it doesn't move. And then you're going to take more hot glue and just wrap this ribbon around so that it stays in place and it hides the zip tie completely. Putting a dab and then folding the ribbon over. And there you have it. You have a nice little bow with writing on it. Thank you guys for watching. We made these cute little bows today. We made this one together, and this was my demo I made the other day. And I really like this technique because it's super easy to do. It doesn't require you using an iron or anything like that. It's super simple. You can make it say anything you want. You can have any picture on it. And this was the best technique I found. Iron-on letters tend to fall off. Transfer paper doesn't work on some types of ribbon. This works on any ribbon you want to use, and it works really nicely. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!